Welcome to Sandeep's podcast here, guys. And we've got a great guest here today joining us. And Ravi is a friend of mine and very knowledgeable in multiple things. But recently he started practicing meditation. So we're going to talk about life and meditation with him today. And can't wait to get into it. So let's get into it. Ravi, how are you?
Yeah, fine, Sandeep. Nice seeing you after a long time.
Yeah. Good seeing you, man. Good seeing you. So, what have you been up to? Are you doing some meditation these days, or what have you been doing?
Yeah, I've been reading about meditation for a very long time, but off late I started some practice, some good practice for last few months, in fact.
Great. Hey,
So
I
it's
wanted to.
going good. Mm.
Great. So I wanted to invite you today to just learn about meditation and life and things of that nature. Just myself, right? I know you've been doing it for a while. So let's start off with a question that I ask myself. I ask myself quite a bit. What is life? I mean, I know we all live through it every day, but what is actually life? And what is the meaning of life?
Yeah, these are all very big questions you are asking in on this topic today. But let me start with a disclaimer. All this meditation or even life, these things, it means for each one, it means differently. And for last many years, I've been listening to videos and reading some literature, especially by Alan Watts, Jiddu Krishnamurti ji, and Sadhguru, and the likes. So, from whatever I have gathered from them and whatever little knowledge I got by going through them, I will just share it with you today. You asked about life. So, life actually is the feeling of being alive. That as simple as it is. But if we in this world, if we think what is life, most people say, even including me, I may say, about our family relations or even our own work life or the things around us, we say this is our life, or whatever are the happenings in our daily life. So this is our life, many people are thinking. Till recently also, I was thinking like that, but it came upon a very a different perception altogether of late. That even Sadhguru says that actually the life is just feeling alive.
Yeah,
The very fact of us being alive and feeling that aliveness is life.
that's true. That's a beautiful way to say it, though. That's a beautiful way to say it. And
And just to add to it, uh, what we did since beginning is that, for example, you see animals, they don't bother about anything except for the present moment or something, and they don't have any plans for the future. They absolutely don't think about the past. So they just live in the present moment. And as humans, we were living for quite some time on this planet. And the moment we started our social life and this very society and community living, or when we came out of forests, or when we started agriculture, and when we got into this community living, so we created many symbols, language. In fact, language is the greatest tool that humans have invented, which made this very civilization possible. But slowly, what happened is we started giving more importance to these symbols and language rather than the very life itself. In fact, for an animal, for any living being, life is in fact our core of aliveness, or our core of being alive, or feeling that feeling alive. So we slowly moved away from that core towards an artificial layer which we have created, like society, government, money, and all external things. And as we are trapped into it, we are saying that is our life. So perhaps it is time that we have to come back and look at our core of the life uh, nowadays.
Yeah, true. There's a big difference between lifestyle and life, right? So
Yes,
that's what you're trying to say. Uh,
exactly.
Great, great. Yeah, because for me, when I was growing up, the definition of life was completely different than how I define it today. Um, I just wanted to just get ahead when I was when I was doing my graduation, or maybe right after graduation. I just wanted to get a job. That was just life for me at that point. Now the definition is completely different. It's
Completed.
the opposite. So I think that question, what is life, also has a lot of answers on when it is asked to a particular person. Um,
Yes.
I think. Uh,
Yeah, our definition of life changes from stage to stage, age to age.
yes.
I mean, as we experience yeah, more into our life, we perceive it differently.
Okay, great. So we talked about life, and I wanted to understand this concept called meditation. I guess explain to me what meditation is, and why do you have to meditate? Why does one have to meditate?
Yeah, actually, we started with a very important question: what is life? And then to come to meditation, if you want an one line answer, meditation is thoughtless awareness. I mean, in a single phrase, if you want me to put it, it's not exactly meditation. The meditative state, the meditative state consists of this thoughtless awareness. And it's a simple phrase I used, thoughtless awareness, but it is a very, very important and thing to understand. So it is a state where perhaps there are zero thoughts in our mind, and we are very much aware of our own self. You combine both, so that is the state. This is all they say, I mean, in the books or something, but it is for everyone to experience himself or herself. It's not something that somebody will say that in meditative state it is like this, it is like that, but it is for one's own self to experience that. The whatever is the experience one have, the fundamental thing about the meditative state is that you have to be in the present moment. Whatever you do, whatever you are in the whatever state you are, you have to feel the present moment. Thoughtless, when we say, thoughts are like that is, it is the job of the mind to think. The mind is there to think. Mind is a wonderful tool, but the problem with mind is that it often goes into the past, which is frankly speaking non-existent. There is no past actually,
Beautiful.
but we experience from the past, no doubt.
Right.
We will learn from the past,
But there's no going
but
back.
our mind lingering in the past is the problem.
Yeah.
Somebody insulted me yesterday. How to teach him a lesson? Or 3 years back, I failed in business.
Yeah.
So it was a terrible moment. Like that, mind goes back, back, back. Or mind goes into future. So tomorrow I'll slap him as he insulted him yesterday. Or maybe after many months I will do something. Or some kind of thinking about the future or future plans. Future planning is fine. Future planning, there is no problem. But the mind repeatedly going into future and lingering in the past is the problem.
Yeah, because if you constantly think about the future, then definitely you'll have anxiety issues,
Anxiety, yes,
right? I mean, you'll definitely have
yes,
anxiety issues, because you want to have a plan, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you think about it all the time. I mean, you
All
have
the
to
time.
focus on
Yes,
the present.
yes,
You have to focus
yes,
on the
yes,
present and have a vague idea of where you're going to go.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So when you cut the past, which is in fact non-existent as on this moment, and when you stop going into future, which is again a concept,
Yeah.
that's why they say past is no longer there and future is just a concept,
Yeah.
which is again no longer there at this moment. So when you cut these two things, you will be anchored. I'm using the word anchored in the present moment. So that is what meditative state is all about, and that is what the meditative practice will perhaps lead you to. So this is all is meditation, but I'll tell you one or two more things. See, when these thought process, the flow of thoughts
Mhm.
and everything stops, it is like a clear lake. In a lake, for example, some people are washing clothes. The definitely the lake will be dirty, or at least there will be a lot of waves, and you can't see the bottom of the lake.
Yeah.
But when these waves get settled, and when the dirt particles get settled, you can definitely see the bottom of the lake very clearly. So if our mind is kind of a lake, so if you remove these thoughts, at least for some time, you will be able to see the reality clearly. Whatever is there in the bottom of the lake is the reality. So you may ask me, what is reality? So the actually, when I am reading this literature also, it is very when we read these sentences, reality or awareness, these appear very normal English words which we
Yeah.
listen daily. But when you think about it, when you experience it, entire perception really changes. So for example, I will tell you about reality. uh, let us say we will look at an apple. The moment one looks at an apple, it is a thing that can be eaten.
Hmm. Yeah.
That is the most basic and material part of it. But the moment we see an apple, what our mind does, immediately it will, even before even before thinking anything, it will say that the name is apple. We named it already.
We named it already.
Yes, and it is in a particular color, let us say red, and it is in some shape. Or how much is the price? Or shall we go into apple business, apple selling business,
Hmm.
or something, or what are the vitamins, if we eat apple, what are the vitamins we'll get, what are the benefits we'll get, something or other. The mind starts analyzing. That's why they say Eastern mind is about watching and the Western mind is about analyzing. So perhaps that is why they have advanced very early in the science and technology. Analyzing means like this only, taking everything and going deep into it and just analyzing it. This is what is Western mind is all about, they say. And Eastern mind is about watching. In fact, the core of meditation is watching without judgment. So that's how what I'm trying to say is this reality, when we see some materiality in the world, without going into the actual reality, we just add all our opinions, our preconceived notions, symbols, and names to it. So, what meditation also does is it makes us grounded to the reality. Not, I mean, all the external world is made by us. So and as we already told, life is the core of our own aliveness. So now meditation, the one of the greatest effects of meditation is that it brings us to the core of our own life, and it anchors us in the reality, that is present moment as well as the reality.
So that basically answers why we meditate. right?
Yes, exactly.
That is why
And
we
all
do it.
these things and anchoring in the present moment and experiencing the reality as it is. If these two things happen, our whole being, I'm using the word being, not just mind, not just body, our own being will become very light.
Okay.
So at this point, I have to tell one thing. Many people may say, if I meditate, will I get anything morally superior? I'll become a great man, or meditation will make me more efficient. I need not sleep for 12 hours or 8 hours, but I'll sleep only for 1 or 2 hours, and I need not sleep much. Or these kind of things. Or some people even argue that meditation will give you supernatural powers. You will levitate after some time, or you'll go to samadhi. This may be true. I also don't know, but uh, but one has to experience. After that, we can believe them or those things. But fundamentally, without attaching any religion, and to if we speak secularly, meditation is all about anchoring ourselves in the present moment, and to experience the reality as it is, and to make our being light and peaceful. Except these two three things, if we meditate with a purpose in mind, again you start thinking, and it is not meditation at all,
But how do
or
we?
it is not meditative state.
Yeah, because how do we do it though? It's super hard, isn't it? Because it's not easy to have no thoughts in your mind when you close your eyes.
Exactly. So it's not easy because we have all these five senses continuously inputting something or other into our mind, and the very habit of our mind is to analyze. And whatever inputs we get, mind starts analyzing, and that is the starting point of thoughts. So even they say, when we are alive we will get thoughts. So there is no question, or there is no uh, way that we will stop thoughts, or we will reject thoughts, or we will very uh, steadfastly we will avoid thoughts. No, thoughts will come, and when you are alive it will come. But the only thing is how to reduce their perhaps number or the speed. So to do that, there are many techniques. Like you play a racket ball well, I know. So in any sport, for example, there are some techniques. So the coaches and all, they will teach the students based on those techniques. Like that in meditation also, or to go into the to have the inner experience, or to experience the inner space. So many people have devised many techniques, and those techniques, the perhaps the end point is same, that is the meditative state, but the ways to reach may be different. For example, some say, for example, in vipassana, or in some schools of thought, they say just observe your breath, the air going in and out, the breath going in and out. And some say you just imagine some kind of light at near your heart. And some may say you chant, or you just recite internally or externally the name of your favorite deity. So like that, there are different. These are all what you call some kind of supports. Or in Telugu and Sanskrit, there is a good word, alambana. Alambana means it's a kind of succor or support, to be something to cling on or hang about. So if you just, and there also you are just watching, you are just watching, you are not at all doing anything else. Mind can't do two things at a time. So when you are watching your breath, you won't be having any thoughts. Of course, after watching the breath for some time, Again, you will go into thoughts. That is the mind is all about. So it will go. There is no problem. You need not judge. You need not bother. Again, you will bring back your attention to the breath. So this is one technique. In fact, I found this technique very good because I'll tell you why also. Breath is something which is most fundamental thing about our own life. It is a kind of bridge between the mind and the body. That's why whenever you feel very anxious or tensed, your breath, the rate of breath increases.
Yeah.
And so that's why there is a close connection between mind and breath and body. And breathing in and breathing out is essentially a physical process through your lungs, nostrils, and everything. So it has both these things. And one greatest thing, this is my personal observation. I didn't read it anywhere, but most of the things what I told were somehow read somewhere. That is that breath is the only sensation in the body which you can feel easily. It is the evidence of the very fact that you are alive.
Yeah.
Even the heartbeat.
That's true.
Is another sensation, but you may have to do some slight effort to feel your heartbeat. But breath, you see, breath is something which you can observe, you can watch very easily without any effort.
Yeah.
So it's most, it is without any external, if you, for example, if I meditate on some favorite deity, that deity and that image and that name we gave to the deity, everything is external, right?
Yeah.
Everything is beyond our life, our own alive being. So what I feel is whatever is there within us, and which is the most fundamental thing, that is breath. So I felt it is a very good technique. So everybody has their own way of doing it. And the very subtle technique of meditation is that you just watch whatever it is. For example, I told breath. You watch, and as long as you are watching, there are no thoughts. If you have to watch very in a minutest detail. For example, the air going in, how it touches your nostrils, or when it goes inside, how it is, everything, every speck of it, you have to be attentive and aware of it. It's not like just watching, okay, I'm watching. When you watch that much attentively, definitely you won't be having thoughts. But after watching for some time, you will have thoughts. Then you won't reject them, neither you invite them. Invite them means continuing with the thoughts. Again, you will bring back your watchfulness to the breath.
Beautiful.
So after some time, whatever you are watching will disappear.
Yeah.
And you will go into that thoughtlessness, the so-called thoughtlessness, and you are at the same time you are aware of your own being and even about the surroundings.
So that
is the meditative state.
Okay. So that's the process of controlling your thoughts.
No. Again, yeah, you asked a very good question.
Okay.
So controlling thoughts is not that is not meditation. See, whenever there is this, when we use this word control,
because it's very, to normal people, it's very subjective, because there's a
yes,
and you don't
find difference. Yes,
exactly. You don't know which one's which, right? So
exactly. So many people confuse control with watching.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, when we try to control our thoughts, that is not meditative practice.
Okay.
In fact, I'm using the word meditative practice. We say meditation. In fact, meditation itself is an English word. The Telugu or Sanskrit word about it is dhyana. Dhyana, yes. So the dhyana sthiti, that is the meditative state. We will reach that meditative state after doing some meditation practice. So during this, you asked about controlling of thoughts. So, for example, let us say I am sitting on a beach and watching at the waves coming in the ocean. So, when you are watching thoughts and watching the breath, for example, whatever thoughts are coming, let us say you just got up from the beach and went into the ocean, and all the waves are coming. Let us say all these waves are like thoughts. Is there a way to stop these waves, saying that this wave is bad, this wave is good?
No.
Absolutely no. There is no way of stopping some waves, and it is a futile exercise.
Right.
It's a meaningless exercise. In the same way, whatever thoughts are coming, we need not stop them. Means we need not control them. We have to just watch. Whatever thought coming, whatever wave is coming, just sit on the beach and watch. You need not go from the beach and enter the ocean and stop the waves also. You need not go also. Why I'm telling going is that, for example, if we cling to a good thought, we may think that our favorite thing or deity or God or his name or something is very close to us. If we go on thinking about that religious or that deity or God or whatever it is,
Yeah.
so we are just going along the thought. Means we are almost traveling with that wave. Our job is to sit on the beach, not to enter the ocean, and just to watch the thoughts. So that's why there is a lot of difference between controlling thoughts and watching the thoughts. You have to just watch the thoughts. They will disappear after a point of time. It maybe the time differs from person to person. That thoughtlessness, what I called, will come after a point of time.
Very beautiful. Very beautiful. I guess this is all good. I understood a little bit of it. Obviously, I did not understand 100% of it because this is something that takes time to understand. I'm not going to get it in the first go.
Exactly. See, whatever I told within these 5-10 minutes, I'll tell you like this. See, there are 3 stages of anything. First, we will just verbally understand something. Secondly, we will experience it. And thirdly, we will almost implement it in the daily life. Means it will become part of our own life. There are 3 stages. Even, for example, whatever I told about meditation,
Yeah.
just understanding it verbally. All the words I used are from English only, so anybody can understand it. That is a basic understanding is one thing, and feeling it. Yes, I am doing meditation, and only when you practice, only you will get it. Even my practice is very little, so to tell these many things is a bit of adventure from my side. But just to share my little knowledge, I'm just telling all these answers.
No, this is great. This is great. I'm learning a lot here as we speak. I'm sure other people will learn too as this gets posted. But again, this is a disclaimer here. We're not experts or anything.
Yes.
Just having a casual conversation. So if you need practical advice, go somewhere else to an
Yes.
actual expert or an actual guru. But I guess for meditate, people do meditation because they want to feel better from the inside, or why do they do it? Because they, like I said, is that because they want to feel better, or is that because they want to feel superior to everybody else around them, or why do they do it?
Yeah, this is what I was just mentioning some time back. Some people, they think that meditation will make them, or meditative practice rather, it will make them like more efficient, or efficient in the daily life, whether it is some business or whatever it is work they are doing, or some people
It would
feel
probably
that
make them relaxed too, right? That's one.
yes, that is the basic thing.
Yeah.
Actually, getting a peace of mind. See, now the whole world, you ask anyone, what do you want means, they will say, we want peace of mind.
Yes.
Peace
Yeah.
of mind is a very interesting word, which,
Also some of the
yeah,
big athletes, some of the big names in the world sport arena, uh, mo- I would say that a good number of people meditate,
yes,
including big Indian cricketers.
yes.
So I think
Nowadays, that awareness has become more. Yes,
that meditation is probably linked to go out and succeed. Also, I think it gives you that state of mind where you can actually physically go out there and succeed at what you do.
yes. See, these things, right? Like meditation and whatever the peace of mind we get. See, it may automatically make us efficient. It may be a kind of incidental byproduct, or it may enrich our own lives. I mean, our own lives. By what that I mean is our own family life, our own social life. Meditation will definitely enrich,
Yeah.
but with a purpose in mind, if we meditate, that is not a meditative practice. See, you are just watching your own life force. You are just, I mean, if our core life is about whether it is our own breath or our own being. So, our own being, you are just, I mean, see, the life just happened. Many people say that what is the meaning of life? So, I'll say it like that. I mean, there is an ant going next to us. So, what is its purpose in life? If I ask you, what you will say? An ant is going just beside us.
Yeah.
Very hurriedly it is going. Very busy ant. And I'll ask you the question: what is the purpose of that ant's life?
That's a beautiful question. I don't really think it has a specific purpose. I think it goes because it just wants to go.
Exactly. So life has just happened on this planet. You
Yeah.
and me, we were born, and there was some life, just like ant or just like a human being like you and me, Sandeep and Ravikiran, whatever. I mean, we have to call ourselves by some name. We are doing it.
Yeah.
Now, this ant, it doesn't have any purpose in life. It just happened, and it will live its own, and it will just eat some food daily, some sugar or something. It will take some rest, and when when it dies, it dies. That's all. Very simple. Food and protection from some potential enemies, and perhaps reproduction, and then death. Everything happens very naturally for them. For them, life has no meaning. It just happened. They are living. They will die. In the same way, we also our life also just happened. But the thing is that as human beings, as people with mind, intelligence, and lot of these things, we have created a civilization. We have created a society. We started with agriculture. We started preserving food, and and also we as a cohesive social system, we developed a very long civilization. To do all these things, we have created so many external, or I can say some kind of artificial layer. For example, money is the best example. By itself, money has no value except that it is a paper or a printed paper. But you see how much money, how much importance we will give to the money. So money is almost like a concept or an imaginary thing. But we will give, for example, if I put money and some, for example, some grapes, a bunch of grapes together, which one you will value more?
Say that again. Bunch of grapes and what? What
Bunch
again?
of grapes and some cash. Let us say some $100.
It depends on when. It depends on my situation, right? So if I was let's say if I was 15 years, this was happening 15 years ago, then I would
Mm.
definitely take $100,
Yes, yes.
right?
So,
So
so
today,
we will.
yeah,
Yes.
today, if I probably don't need $100 today. So it's
Yes.
just that situation there.
Yeah, yeah. You told about your own situation of having money or not having money.
Mm,
But when we see it from a perspective,
yeah.
like say this, what I'm saying is this bunch of grapes is a concrete reality,
Yes.
is a actual physical reality. You can just take it and use it for your own self.
Absolutely.
You can just swallow it and
But I,
you can
but I
eat
would
it
say
and all.
if you ask this question without keeping in mind age or anything like that, 99.9 people take cash.
Cash, yes. So and if you see money, can you eat it?
No.
You can't eat it.
Right.
And more than grapes, we will value cash only. We will give more importance to the a printed paper,
Yeah.
which is otherwise not very useful to us in any manner. So the point I'm telling is we see the reality through some lens. That lens is a kind of artificial layer, if I may call it, which is made up of so many names, symbols, which I have been telling. Like, for example, government. Government is also a concept.
Yeah.
It is there to regulate our own daily lives so that maximum people can live peacefully
Yeah.
over a long period of time. And money, that is another greatest innovation of a human mind, so that we can exchange things and there is a lot of economy keeps on going and there is relative peace in the economic relations across the this thing, and it is the fundamental force behind the civilization. So all these are very important, but our own life, the very fact that we are alive, that is much more important
Yeah.
than these external things. That is the essence of this whole spirituality.
No, that's a great point. That's a great point. What I'm getting from it is money is important, no doubt about it. But at the end of the day, you can have money, but make sure that you're paying attention to your life.
Yes.
So you're living.
Money or anything. Money, I just told an example of a symbol.
Yeah.
So all these external game what we are playing is
Yeah.
only a game.
Yeah, like this
This awareness we should have. Whatever, I mean, for example, I play a game, I play the role of a husband.
Yeah.
I play a role of an officer. I play a role of a father. And and I may have so many preconceived notions and all the opinions of so many things. So all these are a game, are a part of a game which we play to continue this civilization or this whole world and of living together and everything. But we have a core of our own being inside, or the very life force which I am calling. So observing it and being aware of it, not even observing is not a good word, watching our own life and our own being, or experiencing our own being, that is much more important than this. So that awareness, if one has, said, there will be a lot of clarity.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, thank you for coming on today, and we really appreciate you. I think I learned a lot from you, and we'll do much more of these as we continue to go forward. But I just wanted to understand a little bit about meditation and life and things of that nature, and so do our followers and viewers. So, and before you leave, is there any words of wisdom that just a couple of quite quick, simple sentences that you want to share with our viewers? Any tips? Any fast?
Uh, Perhaps I am just looking before me a wonderful quotation from by Mahatma Gandhi. There is more to life than increasing its speed.
Fantastic.
There is more to life than increasing its speed. So perhaps this sums up what we spoke
Yeah.
for last many minutes.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
we will just we can try to practice that.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree with that. That's a really good one to end with. All right, Ravi, I think you taught us quite beautiful insights here, and we appreciate your time, and we'll catch you on the next time. All right.
Sure, Sandeep. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Bye.